So, hello and welcome to another episode of the Turn 5 podcast. And once again, it's just me. Not a huge week this week, so I imagine this will be quite a quick episode. We will be going through all of the Formula 2 and F1 Academy action that happened in Saudi Arabia, as well as going over everyone's predictions for the Miami Sprint weekend. That's an important one to note. It is another sprint. Joy of joys. That being said, let's get started with the Formula 2 action. Now, the qualifying was very close, considering this is the second or third longest track on the calendar. I think it got demoted to third when Vegas came onto the scene. Because I think there was a whole point, a point of pride for the Saudi Arabian crew that it was the second longest one on the calendar, obviously behind Spa-Francorchamps, but it has since been demoted because Vegas is about 25 meters longer. There you go. So it's the third longest track on the calendar, but in terms of Formula 2, I think it's still the second longest. And where are we at? Free practice, 21 drivers. Only 21 drivers posted the time free practice. So it's a tricky circuit. Lots of walls, lots of high speed. But Jack Crawford got pole position by 22 thousandths of a second ahead of Victor Martin. And Leonardo Fornaroli in third, only 92 thousandths off the lead. Now, remember that the top 8 are swapped in Formula 2 for reverse grid poles, and 8th place was Gabriele Mini, who was only 2.5 tenths, 0.263, if we want to go that way, of a second behind Jack Crawford, and only 0.011 of a second behind Pepe Marti in 7th. So he took reverse grid pole. It was a weekend for Arvid Lindblad. Let's cover that off straight away. He had a great drive through the field on the sprint race, coming from 4th, I think, on the grid to take the lead. Richard Verschoor won on the road, but was demoted due to a time penalty. Unfortunate. Another result taken away from him. Seemed to happen quite a lot to him. So, yeah, unfortunate. He got demoted to 4th after I think it was a 5-second time penalty. But yeah, so your podium for Formula 2's sprint race was Arvid Lindblad ahead of Pepe Marti, ahead of Alex Dunn. As for the feature race, Verschoor absolutely nailed I think he did the reverse tyre strategy. So started on the harder of the two compounds and then eventually pitted onto the softs. He went very long into the race and made it work. He finished first ahead of Jack Crawford and Victor Martins, with Leonardo Fornaroli finishing 4th, which leaves the drivers' standings as follows. Richard Verschoor now tops the drivers' standings on 53 points after collecting a total of 32 over the weekend. Pepe Marti is now in second after collecting 18 points this weekend. He's on 41 for the season. And Leonardo Fornaroli drops down to third. He collected 14 points this weekend, and he is now on 40 for the campaign. So we've got a few rounds left yet for all these things to change, but Fornaroli is consistently scoring, as he did in Formula 3. So it's definitely going to be interesting at the top. Formula 2 next returns on the 16th to the 18th of May at Imola. F1 Academy. Now, tricky circuit. These girls had 3 days of in-season testing at the circuit a couple of weeks back, where Nina Gademan had quite a heavy shunt and was still in some discomfort in the car. And we also were joined by the wild card, which was Al Yusuf for this round. Qualifying was actually Chloe Chambers ahead of Dorian Pan ahead of Maya Verg. And by a fairly considerable margin of 2.5 tenths to Dorian Pan was the gap, and then half a second to third place. Race 1 was the reverse grid, with Ella Lloyd taking the front row. I believe it was Emma Felbermeyer was on reverse grid pole, that was it. But Ella Lloyd jumped her off the line and took first place into the first corner and basically never looked back, even with 3 safety car restarts. So Ella Lloyd won ahead of Maya Verg, ahead of Alicia Palmowski, Dorian Pan in 4th, and Alba Larsen in 5th. The feature race, or race 2, I don't think they actually call it feature race, but race 2, Maya Verg won quite comfortably, 2.7 seconds clear of Chloe Chambers, ahead of Dorian Pan. It was a very close fought battle, 6 hundredths over the line, and Alicia Palmowski in 4th, and again, Alba Larsen in 5th. But full credit to Nina Gademan, who finished 8th in race 1 and 7th in race 2. So even though she wasn't fighting fit, she managed to take points from both races. And that leaves the championship as follows. Maya Verg leads the way. She's on 59 points. She scored 33 this weekend. Dorian Pan is in 15. She's on 52 points. She's in 2nd. She scored 15 in race 2. She scored 21 this weekend. Chloe Chambers is in 3rd on 47, and she scored 23 this weekend. And the top 5 is Alicia Palmowski on 36, scored 18 this weekend, and Alba Larsen in 5th on 28 points. She scored 14 points this weekend. The same as Ella Lloyd in 6th, but Ella's only on 23 for the campaign. While we are here, the wild card for Miami has been announced. It's a driver called Ava Dobson. And the new financial services partner, Morgan Stanley, is backing Ava. And she'll be racing in the number 90 car. She's from Milwaukee. She began competing in 2023 in the US Formula 4 Championship. She was awarded a scholarship alongside racing in the USF Juniors and the USF 2000. And then she ventured over to Europe for a 2-round appearance in the GB4 Championship the following year. And she's now in for a full campaign in GB4. So that'll be interesting to see how she gets on at the Miami circuit, which is not the easiest, especially in terms of overtaking. Now then, we move on to predictions for the Miami Sprint weekend. Let's kick it off with the sprint winner. Ben and Nia have both said that Oscar Piastri will win the sprint race. I have said that Charles Leclerc will win the sprint race, and Sonia has gone for Lando Norris. I'm still waiting for Chris and Mel. Pole position, Ben has said Leclerc, Nia and Sonia have both gone for Norris, and I have gone for Oscar Piastri. As for the podiums, Ben has said that Piastri will win ahead of Norris and Leclerc. Nia has said that Norris will win ahead of Piastri and Russell. I have said that Norris will win ahead of Leclerc and Piastri, and Sonia has said that Norris will win ahead of Piastri and Verstappen. For our bold predictions, Ben has said that Bernd Mailander will lead the race at some stage. Nia has said no Ferrari sprint points this weekend. Sonia has chimed in with one and said that it will be a Lando Norris Grand Slam. And I'm going to say, what do I want to say? No Honda powered points. There we go. Definitely won't happen, but we've put something in now. And for Lapdown Showdown, there are 57 laps of the Miami Grand Prix. Ben has said that Lance Stroll will be the first to be lapped on lap 42, and he will finish 1 lap down. Nia has said that Gabriel Bortoleto will be the first to be lapped on lap 31, finishing 1 lap down. And I have said Esteban Ocon on lap 50 to finish 1 lap down. I don't believe we have any news. The only other real news is that Alonso has opened up about his post-2026 plans, and that basically he doesn't know yet, and we'll just see how motivated he is. This obviously on the back of the speculation that Max Verstappen will be joining Aston Martin sometime either in or after 2026. So there you have it. That is the roundup for this week. We'll be back at the same time next week to bring you hopefully some more hosts and at the very least, my thoughts of the Formula One and the F1 Academy action from the Miami circuit. Until then, thank you for listening and or watching, and goodbye.